Hey, people of planet Earth. I hope you're having a very romantic Valentine's Day, whether you're spending it with your spouse or partner, or a body pillow like me. Isn't she beautiful? For this happy holiday, I was planning on reviewing some Lover's Lab mods. But what would the point of that be if I had to censor everything beautiful? No, instead, I'm going to review some mods that claim to eliminate Fallout 4's bullet sponge enemy problem, which is a big issue I and many others take umbrage with. Shooting 100 rounds into an enemy's head and seeing them still moving is just plain ridiculous. I've spent a lot of time looking for mods to change this game's combat into something more agreeable to my sensibilities, and after trying out all the mods I'm listing on screen right now, I came up with some winners. Yes, I said winners, because I'm recommending you download the latter 4 mods from my list, and use them in combination. With these 4 mods, you can make Fallout 4's combat feel like Stalker Anomaly after only a few minutes of tweaking. There will be no bullet sponges, no more health scaling, no more damage modifying perks or attachments, no more sneak attack criticals, and headshots will be as lethal as they should be. And the best part is, these mods are fully compatible with just about any weapon or armor or quest mod out there. As long as the new weapons and NPCs use vanilla calibers and vanilla races respectively, you won't need any patches. That means you can drop these 4 mods at the end of most load orders with no issues whatsoever. That's very important to me because I like to use dozens of weapon mods, and having to manually patch all of them to be congruent with a major overhaul's changes is a huge pain in the ass. But with these 4 mods, no extra effort is usually required. That's my recommendation, and now I'm going to go over each of the mods in depth and talk about why I wouldn't recommend the first 3. First up is Better Locational Damage. This mod promises a lot on its Nexus page. An end to bullet sponges, instant kill headshots, new healing items. It all looks awesome, and for the most part the mod does live up to the high expectations it sets for itself. To get this mod working, you'll need Fallout 4 script extender, and it's highly recommended to install the mod HUDFramework. Unfortunately, HUDFramework has a compatibility issue with the Fall UI interface mod I typically use. You need to load Fall UI after HUDFramework to get them to work together. Once you're done with that, you can open up the mods installer, which comes with a bunch of patches for various other mods. The only option I believe to be essential is ticking the Better Perks Enhanced option to rebalance the vanilla perks that do nothing but give you damage boosts, since those aren't needed anymore and will result in you actually doing too much damage to NPCs. After installing the mod and loading into the game, you will very quickly realize that most enemies are a lot easier to kill, but on the other hand, so are you. Bleeding is a new mechanic to worry about. If you have HUDFramework installed, you'll see an icon on screen when you need to bandage yourself. Perks and attachments have been rebalanced to no longer add much additional damage to your weapons. Automatic weapons now do the exact same damage as their semi-automatic counterparts. These changes are much appreciated, but unlike the mods I'm recommending, they've been made by directly editing all weapons and NPCs, so modded weapons and NPCs will now be unbalanced compared to the vanilla stuff. There are also some changes I don't like. Reloading speed has been greatly reduced for all weapons, with no option to return it to normal. Headshots have been made lethal, which is good, but it's being done via a script that works kind of like the one from the Zombie Walkers mod I reviewed a few weeks ago. Basically, if you shoot an enemy in the head, they'll die a fraction of a second later, if they're not wearing a helmet. This small delay is annoying, although I do like how you need to use higher caliber weapons to insta-kill tougher enemies like super mutants. These lethal headshots equally apply to the player, so you'll need to wear a helmet or turn the feature off if you don't want to be one-shotted all the time. Personally, I don't really like this feature since there's no way to avoid being one-hit killed. It's random and not really based on your skill. In addition, there are new staggering and pain effects, which I'm not a big fan of either. Luckily, those can be turned off as well. In conclusion, this mod is not that bad, but everything it does, except bleeding, can be done better and in a more compatible way with the 2 mods SCOURGE and True Damage. Next we have MAIM version 2.2. This mod also has an installer, with even more options than better locational damage. If you're using Immersive Animation Framework, definitely check the compatibility option on the first page. On the second page, I'd recommend turning Dismemberment back on, since for some reason this mod disables Dismemberment, the best fucking part of this game, by default. This mod apparently works by applying a certain type of spell every time the player gets hit, thus as a result is incompatible with any other mod that adds the same type of spell, such as the mods listed here, so keep that in mind. Once you get in game, you'll notice that this mod makes some enemies easier to kill, but it's not universal like better locational damage. Robots in particular are just as tough as they were before, whereas you, the player, seem to be made out of paper mache. Bleeding damage is even more extreme than it was in better locational damage, but there's no bleeding indicator, rather an intrusive message that appears on the top left of the screen nearly every time you get hit. MAIM has one-hit kill headshots like better locational damage does, but they aren't nearly as consistent. Often you'll shoot low-level enemies in the head and they'll survive. However, when one-hit kill headshots do occur, they kill enemies instantly, without the awkward delay the previous mod has. MAIM is also similar to better locational damage in that it overhauls the perk tree, but it doesn't do it nearly as well, in my opinion. Damage perks haven't changed at all, although melee damage has been greatly increased per level to make melee a more attractive option. The medic perk is now a crafting perk that allows you to craft MAIM's new aid items. Frankly, the amount of medical equipment this mod adds is simply ludicrous. You're screwed if you use Fall Souls together with this mod. You'll die of blood loss before even finding the right item to heal your specific injury. Even if you do select the right item, it takes a very long time to heal now. The more powerful healing items require you to move slowly and keep your weapon holstered, which is a death sentence in the middle of a firefight. Overall, though, this mod is way more difficult, way less compatible, and in my opinion, just not as good as better locational damage. I don't recommend this one either. Thirdly, we have Horizon. Horizon comprehensively alters just about every single aspect of Fallout 4. Suffice it to say that this mod is incompatible with basically every other mod out there, without a patch. Most of Horizon's changes are outside the scope of this video, so all I will say is that even though this mod does give the game a consistent damage model, it is clearly not attempting to be realistic, which is why I wouldn't recommend it. Beyond that, I don't have anything else to say. Next mod up, and the first of the four that I'm recommending, is SCOURGE. SCOURGE is an excellent mod that removes the scourge of level scaling from this game. The worst thing about it is how many damn dependencies it has. You need Fallout 4 script extender, the spell perk item distributor, which by itself requires a whole bunch of other shit, the script extender address library, and backup framework. Once you have all that though, you're golden. The installer is self-explanatory, just check off the DLCs you own. Through the in-game MCM, you can change the minimum and maximum health, speed, damage resistance, energy resistance, and more for every single enemy type in the game. Via a spell or something, every single creature you encounter will have their stats re-rolled to conform to these settings. That includes modded creatures as well, as long as they still use the vanilla game's races. For mods that don't, there are patches available. Keep in mind that if you uninstall this mod, any NPCs that have already had their stats randomized will not reset back to their original values. The new stats are baked into your save game, but newly encountered NPCs will be back to their vanilla selves. This isn't really a big issue. However, standardizing NPC health is only one piece of the puzzle. The other piece is standardizing weapon damage, and for that we have the mod True Damage. True Damage has the same dependencies as SCOURGE, and also comes with an installer. The most popular caliber adding mods have patches available right there. On the second page of the installer, make sure you tick the Vehicle module to give cars extra health so they don't blow up in 1 or 2 shots. And also tick the Adrenaline module to remove the damage bonus you get from Survival Mode's Adrenaline. It's replaced with extra experience instead. Thirdly, make sure you tick the Perks module so the vanilla game's damage increasing perks can be replaced with more appropriate ones. In-game, you might not notice at first that anything's changed. All your weapons will still report the same damage value in the Pip-Boy, but these values are no longer accurate. True damage works by reducing damage from ballistic weapons and adding it to the ammo instead. The weapon's damage still contributes a little to the final damage, but it's been reduced to a mere 10% of its original value. This means that all the bonuses you get from attachments still exist, but they now contribute a lot less than they did before. A weapon's caliber is now the main determinant of its damage value. True damage's best change is removing difficulty's effect on damage. Whether you're on very easy or survival difficulty, damage is now always scaled to 1 or whatever number you want it to be. This mod is awesome. The only bad part is you can't adjust a caliber's damage in the MCM, you have to edit the ammo itself in Fallout 4 Edit. But that's not very difficult. I assume there's some technical reason for that. Our second last mod is No Guns Sneak Attack Multiplier. It's a very simple mod that edits one variable to eliminate sneak attack critical hits for ranged weapons. Anyone could have made this mod in 5 minutes, and indeed there are several other mods that do the exact same thing, but I picked this one because it's been flagged as an ESL and doesn't have any unnecessary dirty edits, so that's why I chose this particular version. There's nothing else to say about it. This mod only has one function, and those who want to keep ranged sneak attack criticals can steer clear of this mod. Finally, we have headshot damage multipliers, in particular the 5 times damage version. This is also a very simple mod that only edits one variable in the body part data of various races to give headshots a 5 times damage multiplier instead of the vanilla game's 2 times multiplier. Unless an enemy has some serious head armor, this mod will make headshots a guaranteed kill, as it should be. Alrighty, those are all the mods I'm going to show off for today. I hope you found my recommendations helpful if you share my sensibilities on FPS combat. If you like the way vanilla Fallout 4's combat works, this video probably didn't help you much. Oh well. Toodles!